Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hello and welcome back. Let's just say today's episode is going to be interesting. I get to play, well, I don't play lawyer, but I show and provide all of the evidence, and I'm petty, and I show and prove with my life experience as well as updated news stories and things like that. But yeah, when white cis men don't know their privilege, when white women don't understand the privilege that their male counterparts have, and when a lot of the world, because yeah, this is another black woman versus the world episode, but emphasis on the white man. When other people from all around the world, they always want to hate on black people. We work as hard as we can and we strive and we do things, but then people always want to say it's only because we're black. When and that's a frustrating thing where they say that now they take away DEI. They take away DEI when a lot of companies, like some people are like, oh, there's reverse racism. No, maybe some companies were waking up and realizing that there were better candidates that understood the diversity of the country and the world, and maybe that the current person wasn't fulfilling that role, or they were so close minded that maybe that role should not have been theirs in the first place. And where are there different ways to go about that situation? Yes. Are there ways to maybe send them to trainings? Yes, but I have met so many people who say, "Oh, that it's like don't send me to any trainings. Don't tell me how to think." And so yeah, to me, I'm just like, if you're gonna be closed minded and stay closed minded, and you want a upgrade or promotion with that job and you don't get it, maybe you need to understand why. It's like if you're not willing to learn more and educate yourself on the surroundings around you and people around you that are different than you, yeah, because like I said in my last episode, yeah, it's like if it's your first time, I'm nearing 400 episodes, so yay me. And also I'm going to be having more books published soon. Yeah, it's just one day I'll tell the battle because I do have episodes about disability life and the terrible, awful ways my doctors treated me. But I have so many more doctor health stories to tell. But okay, back to the privilege. Oh, over the last week and a half, I've been seeing some really interesting news. And a lot of people on the Republican side want to keep talking about how there's reverse racism and they're not looked at, and how it's like America always wants to hire either LGBTQ or person of color, black, maybe even people with disabilities. We don't really hear that much about us, but. But then at the same time, a lot of people, especially cis white people, when it comes to disabilities at least, you should just stay home. Okay, because on one side they want me to work and say that people with disabilities should just stay home, not be bothered. But then they say they should work and gain their part. And then they say that we should have a curfew. Yes, I've actually had people tell me that after 5 or 6 o'clock we should stay indoors. Or if they see me in public, why are you out here? How are you out here? What, like, how did you find out about this event? How did you find out about this event? Think, okay, anyway. And even as an African American person with some of my hobbies and interests, oh, black people aren't supposed to play this person, like with cosplay and stuff. Or, oh, you like this show? Oh, I'm surprised you like this. You're black. Oh, don't you like this show and this show and that show? I don't watch those. But you're black. Okay, and if you just nodded because you agree or you've done that, shame on you. You're stupid, idiotic, ignorant, poorly educated, or racist or bigoted. Congratulations. Yes, okay, moving on. Because two stories happened recently. One is with that Australian Caucasian cis male. I talked about him in a previous episode when this one Caucasian or one white European, like ancestry type of woman was saying how she's going to say white author, white characters, all this white stuff, when you really need to look at the history of when white people came together, and then the whole roots of white power, because a lot of people are like, oh, they say black power, so I should say no, 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 no. There's a skit with the or someone redid the Power Rangers thing about that too, which I love that, because I'm like, yes, this is right on point. If I can find it, I normally don't remember, but yeah, you need to look it up. It's hilarious. It's amazing. Because if you don't know the toxic, terrible, bigoted, racist history behind it, but then she kept saying, I should be able to say I'm a white author. Yes, you can. You can. But make sure you don't say it in a racist tone, because usually with other nationalities, it's not through racism. It's because a lot of people don't want to read our books. A lot of people look over us. A lot of people look for only white authors and characters to begin with. And as an African American woman and author and business owner, I like reading diversity. And so I will read main characters that are African American, LGBTQ, have a disability, Asian, Indian, Hispanic, etc., etc. Because I want to make sure that I read the scope and perspective of all different diversities. And some of the characters I read, they are Caucasian. One of my favorite characters in a book is still Nancy Drew. I grew up reading that, and oh my gosh, I was like, I would read like about 3 to 5 of those books a week sometimes, especially over the summer. So it's not, it's just, there's a difference when people get mad when there's a African American character and they always say they're white, but then when they're white, it's like people don't understand that sometimes we want to see ourselves as the main characters too. And oh, that reminds me, Sinners. So many different demographics were mad. Some were like, oh, we should have been represented in this movie. I know I've watched so many videos on that perspective, but okay, if you want a movie with your perspective, with a spin, with the original or where the Sinners came from, make it yourself. African Americans had to do it. African Americans had to do it. That's what I'm trying to do. But while I do that, many white people tell me, oh, no, no one's going to read your book if your characters are black. No one's going to want to read it if your characters don't have white names or European ancestry names or biblical names. And it's like, why am I limited to only have to cater to the white people? But okay, but when it comes to employment and stuff, okay, because here's the dirty, here's the tea, the hot, the very hot petty tea. That Australian author, or well, he wasn't even an author. The thing is, he started off as a book talker. And like I've said, with all of social media, it's like as if you're Caucasian and a cis, like yeah, basically cis white male, cis white female, you can skyrocket so much quicker. But with African Americans and disability or people of color, we, we have to prove ourselves twice as much, or we have to cater to a certain demographic of that. Right, Candace Owens? Right, Candace Owens? Okay, that's just in my opinion. I just let her name to be petty, and that's in my opinion because all of a sudden she lost a job and now she's trying to come back over to the black people. And it's just like, you think we forgot? We're not dumb. Why don't you go play with EA for a minute? Why don't you go to the playground with EA? So, but after this one white cis male from Australia got on TikTok, I think it's been like 2 months, and now he has a 2 book, yeah, 2 book series deal. And it's just like, what? And I've heard a little bit more information, and he says that he has this idea and with his characters, and he's tossing it back and forth. And then, like I said in the other video, I heard his apology, but I don't know. Part of me is like, I've learned you have to be careful who you trust, because some people, they will do the apology because he has to make sure marketing wise he can still appease to everyone around him. And so sometimes you have to know and realize everybody is not your demographic, because I know Republicans and MAGA, oh, they will never be, no, no, unless they wake up, but they're too scared to be woke. They're too scared to be woke because that means that they will have to recognize the imbalance, the prejudice, and the awful history that a lot of us have had to face, and also the history and how it even lures into our present and future, and how so many like refuse to even recognize us as full human beings, and how they many think little of us just because of the color of our skin, and also how certain demographics are so determined to look like them, they will bleach their skin and determined to date lighter skin or Caucasian or white European people in order to allow their kids to be lighter than them, to better their race and everything like that. Because, like I said, and yes, like basically watch other episodes, because it's crazy how everyone, or not everyone, but you know what I mean by like a lot of people. I just say a lot of people are so determined to look like the colonizers, to look like the reason why most countries have an Independence Day. Do your research. Yeah. Most countries, they have to have Independence Days because dot dot dot. Yeah. And now look at our country now. Look how they're treating people. And it's funny how now a lot of farming companies or people, they're mad that black people aren't getting on the land and farming their crop. No, you had your employees. You voted to lose them, but now you want us to just, oh, okay, we're gonna go and do it. My ancestors, oh no, no, yeah, it's like because when the orange guy kept saying black jobs, yeah, a lot of us, and that's why a lot of people are mad. They're like, why did all the black women vote? Because we have common sense and we know our history and we pay attention. See, that's what woke is. Like a lot of you guys, oh, you're woke. You don't even know what it means. Or you follow a lot of these Caucasian or MAGA, like Republican, like just naive, poorly educated perspective type of people, but then you don't even really understand anything or the truth of what is being dealt. Because now our country, while we're kicking out brown people, which from the beginning the MAGA was not paying attention. You guys, like, come on now. He literally said that Mexico or Mexicans are full of like R words and like like just every bad thing. Like I think that was the day of the elevator or something like that. But and then throughout the presidency, tearing brown people apart like nobody's business. But then it's like a lot of people are like, oh, we're gonna vote for Trump. Oh, we love him. Oh, he's so caring. He's so loving. Oh, he didn't mean that about me. He didn't mean that about us. Now what is he doing? Because now with I think the terrorism division, I forgot the exact role, but it's kind of crazy how they took away DEI, and whenever they can blame black women, especially so many people keep trying to drag black women, and then they say we don't belong or we shouldn't get certain job roles and things like that. But now with this terrorism position, they hired somebody who has no like prior experience with this, and then has a lot of internships and worked at the grocery store and things. But then they say, yeah, he's not qualified, but they're hiring him. But then they say a lot of black people don't, or they only get the job because they're black, and or they say that they lower the criteria, when you guys have to stop watching Fox News because that's full of lies. That's not true, and you know it, but then you want to think about it because you want an excuse when one of us gets the position and you don't. That's the truth. Because I've told so many employment stories about how with my 3 degrees, and certifications and prior work experience and everything, how I'm overqualified for jobs. And they're like, you don't want to work here. You're too qualified. You shouldn't be here. Maybe try another. And that over and over and over again, they would create excuses in order not to hire a Black woman on purpose. They would do it. They were determined, even by looking at how many miles I was from the business compared to other applicants. I've told that story too, so go back to that one. This country is not fair, it's not right, it's not just. It's like we're surrounded by like racists and bigots and everything, but half of the country is celebrating it. Some of them are slowly waking up finally, but they did it after the fact. It's like they believe, like we knew he was lying. And we kept saying, like, people never want to listen to Black women. And we're telling you the truth, and we know the history, and we know, like, especially when I've mentioned so many different historic events where democratic or like different demographics will partner with us and, oh, let's do this together, let's do that together, oh, let's teamwork so then we can all get our rights. But then once they get their rights, because yeah, as long as you're Black, the other group is going to get it first. Then they drop us like, oh, okay, we have it, we're good. Yeah, you'll figure it out. Just keep working at it. Yeah, that's how it works. That is society. That is the America. It's like a lot of people talk about the American dream. The American dream for a lot of Black women is to actually be recognized as human and to stop being dragged and looked at as just inhumane or not good enough, or the only reason we are able to step up is because of, oh, you only got that because you're Black, or either that job or this promotion or scholarship or anything in between. It's frustrating and annoying, and it's just at a point where those are just two examples, and that's only been over the last week and a week and a half. We have an author, like a now author, like he was social media, but they gave him an offer right off the bat. And that makes me really happy that, because I've studied the industry, the writing and author industry. I have, and I know how competitive. And another reason why I got my MBA, so that I can control and start my own publishing company. And with my other businesses, have everything together, copyright. It's like when I say I studied this, I studied it. And I just remember even at job interviews, when I would start to say some of the ideas for the companies, and one of the companies actually used my idea but did not hire me. And then a real estate company hired me. I worked the position, but they kept kind of staring at my walk or whatever. Yeah, the boss, yeah, that, oh yeah, I talked about this one. This is the one where the boss had cancer, but then, yeah, his wife, yeah, let's just say, I don't have a good opinion of her whatsoever. She's in my opinion, she's a horrible, terrible human being who is just corrupt. And because they were paying me, but then the wife was like, oh, you know what? Let's just lay her off. And now, instead of like to go around it, they just started getting free interns. Even though I had their back, especially when her alcoholic brother kept missing work to the point where, well, I mean, yeah, just go watch that episode. It was crazy. It's like, but, and that's one of the situations where I knew racism was just apparent and visible and obvious, because I know I do my work. And that one reason why two of my job references are like two of my old bosses, but those two bosses are my friends. I talk and chat, and sometimes when like we don't live all that close, sometimes we're on the phone for 2 or 3 hours. And these were my bosses. I met both of them while being a promotional model. And I love and adore both of them. They are both amazing people. But one thing they know is when I work, honey, I work. I put my all. And that's when like I'm working on my novels right now. I'm working on more children's books. I'm working on my greeting cards. It's like I have an episode on here every day. I'm still learning and everything. And I haven't promoted or marketed too much because first I'm trying to have a very, very strong base. So then I can get the Handicapable nerd together and then tie those two together. Then I have the the Hispanic soap opera because that's the soap opera my main characters watch from my novel. So I have 3 episodes made, only one uploaded on YouTube, but it's like, yeah, when I work, honey, I work, and I'm very creative. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, and it's just amazing why like people keep wanting to judge and say that Black people or LGBTQ only get the jobs because of those things. But on to another episode. And at the end of the day, those are two amazing, wonderful women. And we have so many millennial, generation Z and A. Oh my gosh, you're on A. And they are going to be wanting to work on projects, maybe publish books, start businesses, get higher education and things. And I want them to know how smart and wonderful and beautiful and amazing they are, and that they can achieve anything they want. And I know it's normally who you know, not what you know. And that's where a lot of African American women are stuck because many of us don't know the right people or we don't know those steps to take. And one reason why I want to create different roadmaps or even one of my web pages being links to help because it's not fair. People keep wanting to say that you only get things because you're Black, and they don't know how much harder I had to do it. Going to job interviews and jobs saying, I must have the wrong resume, or I'm gonna have to see your certified credentials or credits for my colleges, my transcripts. Do you know how many times I've had that happen, but then find out no one else they interviewed did? None of the white people had to. And or they say I'm overqualified, so I have no business trying to apply for this job. And or they ask, where are you from? No, where are you really from? No, where are your parents from? The bigotry. And or the list is too long, and I've already talked about that subject in one of the IQ episodes, so go check that out. It's just crazy. And I think with the soon to be author and the grocery bagger, or he had a position, I forgot which one now, but with those two men, what they got offered, it's like they didn't like with the author guys, like he was able to find out who to know because his TikTok grew so quickly. Like women saw, ooh, single white cis male, or maybe single, I don't know, I think, like, because the way they flock to him, but you never know, whatever. I just, we have so many people whose views are so closed, and they're already gonna think it's just reverse racism. Many of them think that Black women are not capable and or smart enough. Some of them think that we're just supposed to go and work on their farms now because Black jobs means to go and drop everything and now pick crops. That's the society we live in. That is the role that they were trying to cage us back in. But no one listens to us. We tried telling you 92%. Like, you guys, the way you guys treat us, but 92%. Doesn't that tell you something? Throughout history, we have had to battle the most. As a woman, you've hated us, and as black, you've hated us. Our skin tone, you hate and despise. But then, whenever we come up with something amazing, either you try to steal it, take credit for it, and it's exhausting. We are human. At the end of the day, yeah, as I was growing up, I didn't know the people that I needed to know. I had to do so much research, and even with my grad school, I'm so thankful that the internet was up and ready and allowing me to do my grad school online, because I was able to look up the schools and look up the degrees and things like that, because no one was thinking I was ever going to finish. And one of my family members, when I told her that I got into grad school, I was so excited. And I was so excited to tell her because I thought, oh, so now she'll see that I'm serious with continuing my education. But instead, she said, why in the hell did you do that for? But now I finished that degree, which was my MA. Then I went back for my MBA. Then I went and got one certification, two certifications, three certifications. I worked so hard and I became a promotional model, and I did that for about 12 years. I taught K through 12 and college for years. I've published 6 books, and soon I'm going to be doing finally my novel, and then I have more children's books and more novels. When people try to tell me, or especially when white men on dating apps try to tell me, they know that I don't have degrees, they know that I'm never going to accomplish anything, or they know that my books won't sell because I have black main characters, and or they say that I need to change my characters to white so that they might actually be interested in it, and or that black women aren't supposed to write because what are we going to write about? And they talk about some of the most racist, ignorant, awful, stupid things. And or why are you going to name your character that? You need to name them with basically European or biblical names. Our country or our society, the way you guys look down on us. But then I have to say, we are the strongest out of everyone, because out of everything, out of the history that we have had to suffer, and we've still come this far, and we're still fighting, and we're still achieving, and we're like so many brilliant women out there, so many brilliant black women out there. And some will never get the credit that they are due. And some might get the credit stolen from them. So I say right now, be careful with what you say about your ideas. Get them copyrighted and or create a document, but don't share it with anybody. Because especially a lot of people can't wait to ruin or take away from the black woman. They don't think much of us. I tell you about the police and and how ex-boyfriends tried to pin me for something that they did. And they said, I'm white. I'm white. The police is they're going to automatically believe me because I'm white. White men know this. They know their privilege. They pretend they don't. They pretend they don't. They know their privilege. They'll pretend they don't know it until right when it's time. Because 2 or 3 times, it's like I've seen it so many more, but there's 2 or 3 times specifically. I was like, oh, now you're going to use your white privilege against me. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human, and you're human too.